It was a very exciting and close mayoral race here in Lethbridge, with Blaine Hyggen etching out a narrow 500-vote victory margin over second-place finisher Bridget Mearns. Now, we're honored to be joined today by our new mayor of Lethbridge, Blaine Hyggen. Congratulations again, Blaine.
Thank you very much, Hal, for having me.
Now, were you a little surprised that it was so close, under 1,000 votes, or did you expect that?
You know what? I knew that it was quite the campaign, and to be very honest, I knew it was going to be tight. I knew that that Bridget was the one that was actually going to be the one that I had to really mount the campaign for. So yeah, I expect it to be close for sure.
Yeah, Bridget Mearns coming in a very close second, absolutely. Former two-time city councillor. Now, Blaine, what were some of the bigger issues that came up when you were door knocking with voters?
My gosh, the number one thing, bar none, was definitely safety within our community. That was, if it wasn't at 90% of the doors, it was 95. It was safety within our community. And it didn't matter where we went, if it was to senior centers or at the doors or any forums, this was the comments and questions that came out.
Now, when I met you and I was chatting with you on the media panel for some of these forums prior to the election, I was asking you about potentially putting $1 million back into the police budget that was taken out to address some of the crime issues. Are you still heading down that same road, and you'll talk to the police commission about adding more funding for the police budget?
Absolutely, Hal. This is something that I campaigned on, and it's I truly believe that our police need the funding necessary to have the resources that they need to protect our community, and especially throughout this pandemic and also with the opioid crisis, we need to be able to give the support services that they need.
Now, have you chatted with Lethbridge Police Chief Shaheen Medizadeh about maybe what they're lacking right now? Perhaps more boots to the ground in the streets here in Lethbridge?
Absolutely, I have. Actually, just earlier today, I had a great conversation with him just to reach out and find out exactly what they need. And we're planning on getting together, as well as with the police commission, sit down and see exactly what we need, so that when this resolution comes forward, we know that it's got direction, and we'll know that the services that they're needing are going to be provided to support our community.
Now, the last couple of years, Blaine, Lethbridge was a very divided city over the opioid crisis, the SCS, and the increased crime that seemed to go along with it. Any thoughts on how to move forward on some of these issues?
You know, a lot of these issues, and we talk about homelessness in our community, Hal, and it's something that definitely is a concern. Now, we got to remember that not every homeless person is an addicted individual, and so we need to find housing for them. And so, of course, that is a lot of collaboration with our provincial government on getting the housing necessary, and beyond that, just collaborating with them and working with the experts on this to make sure that we can get through these trying times that we're in right now. It's not new to Lethbridge. It's in a well, I should say it's not new in the last while here to Lethbridge, but it's something that many communities are struggling with right now. And we just need to find a plan going forward to be able to assist any of these individuals that are needing support.
Yeah, mental health supports, and like you said, a homeless issue is quite a big issue here in our city, and affordable housing. Now, Blaine, I want to ask you something. Let's circle back to crime for just a moment here. What's with all of the bike chop shops set up in our city? I mean, I've heard of car chop shops, but apparently stolen bikes are pretty big business here in the Windy City.
Absolutely, Hal. You know what? When I was during the campaign trail, I visited many different businesses, and I witnessed just out their window a chop shop happening. Saw some bikes come in, saw them disassembled, and I'll tell you what, within a half an hour, a new bike was going out with different parts, and it was quite concerning to see at how quick and good they are with this. And I would love to have these individuals actually working in a bike shop, because wow, they're good at what they do. And it was really unfortunate to see. But you're right, Hal. It has gone through the roof. You cannot leave a bike anywhere, even if it's locked up. It's so tough because these individuals just know what to do to get the bike that they want.
So how do we address some of the stolen bike issues here in our city?
Well, gosh, it's that collaboration with our chief of police, the police commission, find out exactly what we need to do. One big part is, and it's something that comes from all the citizens, is to make sure you put your bike in a safe spot. And I know that if we were able to do this 10 years ago, I still say the same thing, like, gosh, I used to do it, leave it here. Why can't I now? But just trying to do our part so that it's those bikes are kept safe, because leaving them out, they're not going to last very long. And it's sad to say that, but it's true currently with the conditions that we're going through here in our community.
Now, Blaine, obviously you have some new faces on Lethbridge City Council. One of the concerns with the last council was the divisiveness. There was a lot of division on council. What is it going to take to actually have that change?
It's one of the first things I want to look at is what, in addition to this safety concern, it's to really sit down with council and find out what exactly they want from the community. Because let's face it, we all want the same result. It's how we get there a lot of times is what differs. But these differences they make us stronger. Let's work on these weaknesses and these differences, because I think it's extremely important we sit down, we come to a common goal of what we want to see in our community. And I really believe when I look at the council that was elected, I'm just overjoyed. It's great. I really think we're going to work well together. There'll be some challenges when it comes to different topics, but you know what? Respect is the number one thing, and we'll get through it and we go on to the next resolution, because we're going to differ, and that happens always. But it's coming in with respect, Hal. That's the main thing.
Now, Blaine, obviously winter's just around the corner. That means a lot of snow here in southern Alberta. Let's talk about plowing, because I know with the last mayor, Chris Spearman, I've asked him about this. The side streets outside of the major thoroughfares, people sometimes can't get out of their own neighborhoods, their own cul-de-sacs, because the snow is stacked so high. Do you think you're going to kind of push to maybe have some plows go through some of these secondary roads to help people get to work or to school?
Absolutely, it's something that comes up. Knocking doors is the concern with snow removal. We were fairly fortunate with a lighter winter here this last one, but you know what? It's over a 4-year budget, so sometimes we're over, sometimes we're under on the budget each year. But over the 4 years, we hope that it levels out. But regarding some of the side streets, it's difficult at times to get them. There's priority set up, so the main roadways, etc. But if we have to use additional services or private contractors to help us get through this in a quicker way, I believe that it's something that council should look into, because not only does it get that snow removed, but it also supports those private businesses that are taxpayers within our community. And so it's something I definitely want to look at.
Increase snow removal without raising property taxes. Remember that. That's pretty key here.
Absolutely, Hal, you're right.
Now, Blaine, every candidate campaigned on a platform by bettering the economic fortunes here in our city. What do you think really needs to happen to see this take place and maybe draw in more businesses to our region?
You know what? The collaboration, it goes back to collaboration, Hal. And the most important part is touching base with our Chamber of Commerce and Economic Development Lethbridge. They know, they're in touch. They've got their ear to the ground to businesses that are looking for opportunities in our community, and working together with them. As we've said, and it's a word that we've heard it far too often, we're better together, but we truly are. We need to work with those experts in those fields. So if it's, like I say, the Chamber of Commerce or Economic Development, I'm planning on getting together with them, sitting down and finding out some of their goals. And if they've had any communication with these businesses that want to relocate to our community, let's do that. Let's get on that same page and bring business to our community.
Now, Blaine, one of the ballot questions was whether or not to go ahead with a third bridge here in our city. Voters indicated that, yeah, let's go for it. They want one. Now, that's a huge financial undertaking. Where do we go from here? And getting back to property taxes, to build a third bridge, you're going to need to come up with a lot of money here. So are we going to see a large tax increase as a result?
I'm glad I had this opportunity to chat to you about this, Hal, because it's something that's I campaigned on is getting a third bridge for multiple different reasons. And people know me as being very fiscally conservative. So of course, when I said we want a third bridge and the number come up with 12 or 13% tax increase, I would never support it at that. But what I would support is looking into other ways, thinking outside the box. A prime example, not limited to this, but there's many communities that actually have a bridge for zero cost to taxation, and it could be possibly a toll bridge. Now, I know some people get scared when you hear toll bridge. Zero cost, it's user pay, and that's one of the options. The others is to communicate well with our provincial and federal governments to try to possibly, maybe where it's set right now, it's not the right location. Maybe we make it more of a regional roadway so that the province and would be involved. So maybe come over by the airport. I mean, it's just different ideas, but I'd sure like to further investigate it, as we saw the number that came in really showed that there was support for this third bridge. And the last thing I want to touch on is we've allocated some funds, or we want to build a fire hall further south. Now, we've just built one on the west side, and if we had a third bridge, the cost, if it's 40 or $50 million, or whatever that cost is for that fire hall, we might be able to push that down, because the access from the west side, new fire hall across the bridge, may help as well. So safety is one thing for sure, and that could play a part of it, having a third river crossing.
Now, around 56% of voters also indicated that they'd like to see a ward system in place. Some people say, well, Lethbridge isn't really big enough, 100,000 people. We're not Calgary, Edmonton here, over 1 million people. Will you actually pursue that? And what do you think some of the pros and cons are of a ward system here in Lethbridge?
You know what? I want to sit down with council on this one, because it was definitely a direction it looked like from what the citizens that voted had indicated. And it warrants it, because I'll tell you what, I've had so many people throughout this campaign reach out and says, I don't have the time to go through all of these candidates. It's so tough to find out. There's 32 of them for me to research for candidate and 6 for mayor. This ward system, any communication I received was, gosh, we need a ward system so that I can actually truly look in and find out who's running in my area, find out more about them. And yeah, so that is a huge part of it, is just the time commitment to research these candidates. And if you had 32, and having someone you can go to in your area is important, I think. And it's something that I definitely want to look at. And I think that a council as a whole needs to listen to what the community has said, get together, further investigate this, and find a way to make this happen if that's what the citizens want.
Now, one of your campaign issues was to try and find a way to bring more doctors to our city. I know for our family, we just lost our doctor. He moved back to South Africa. He was frustrated. We have one of the worst doctor shortages in the province here in Lethbridge. So what kinds of things are you hoping to do to try and attract and retain doctors here in our city? How are you going to work with the province in that regard?
It's another thing I put on my platform, Hal, and it was interesting that I had many comments saying that that's a provincial thing. That's a mandated provincial. You shouldn't get involved at a municipal level. But I'll tell you something. I've had numerous doctors reach out to me. There was 6 over the last week that want to get together, form a committee, find out how we can not only retain but recruit doctors to the area. I spoke with one that has brought over 10 doctors to the area just because they've reached out and to the different schools and stuff and said, Lethbridge is an amazing community. And if these individuals didn't do that, the current practicing doctors here in Lethbridge, we'd have a concern, because the first thing, I know one of them in particular that reached out said, I wouldn't be here if I went off what my Google search was. And the Google search was, Lethbridge has a lot of crime, there's a lot of concerns, but they had a doctor reach out to them and say that it's a beautiful community, there's a great future, it's a great potential, and they moved down here. So it's something that is something we need to look at, and I want to be a part of that, and with any support that we can do, and to help them move forward with that recruitment and retainment of doctors in our community. Because I've talked to so many that have had, have lost their doctor.
So Blaine, any final thoughts as to the direction you want to lead Lethbridge over the next 4 years? Think about where we are now and where we're going to be in the future.
Absolutely. The number one thing is to listen. Listen to the community. There's so many incredible suggestions that come from the community. If we'll just take the time to listen, take those suggestions forward to the rest of council and further investigate them, pass them on to our administration, find out if it's something that's done in another community, do the research. And I think listening is so important. It's one of my slogans throughout this campaign is listen to Lethbridge. And I just want to make sure that we do that. And the community has a part in these discussions.
Blaine Hyggen is the newly elected mayor of Lethbridge. Mayor Hyggen, thanks so much for your time today. Congratulations again.
Thank you, Hal. Appreciate it.